Buongiorno and welcome back to Tales from Tuscany. And today, as promised, I've had lots of people ask me to do an episode on all about buying a house in Italy and how we went about it. Now, straight away I'm going to make a disclaimer and let you know I am definitely no expert in house buying in Italy or anywhere else. Yes, I have bought and sold and owned quite a lot of properties in my life, but every single experience has been different, and buying a property overseas is very, very different indeed, as you can imagine. So disclaimer straight up, this is not expert advice. This is my advice is based on my experience. So I'm just passing on any knowledge I have, any tips and tricks, I suppose, that have come along the way during this process, because we've done things in a very different way perhaps to a lot of people would normally do, or what we would normally do. So I was hoping this would help. Number one tip, actually, before I go any further, is 3 words. Patience is king. You need to be patient. You need to remain zen throughout the whole process. It's really difficult, I know, because there's a lot of emotion involved, but try and separate the emotion out of the process, because when you're dealing with bureaucracy in countries that you don't understand, or perhaps language that you don't speak or not speak very well, of course there's always going to be frustrations and hold-ups and all sorts of things that you don't understand perhaps always why. So patience is king, and just take a deep breath and just let things happen in their own good time. So, real estate agent or house finder, what's your choice? So in our choice, we were searching on the internet. I've explained that in other episodes, and we went through a real estate agent. But don't forget, I am Italian or half Italian. I speak the language pretty much fluently, so therefore I can do things that maybe a non-Italian speaking person can't do. I can deal with a real estate agent really, really easily. Now, don't forget, there'll be lots of real estate agents out there that speak your language as well. A lot of estate agents, good ones in Italy, are totally bilingual, and you won't have those issues. But if you are uncomfortable, if you feel like you don't even want to go down that track, nowadays online you can find some amazing people living in Italy that are called house finders. In fact, there are even groups on social media, like on Facebook, where you can actually find house finders, expat real estate agents living in Italy who can help you in English go through the processes, and they really will help you from A to Z. The thing is, you may pay a fee for these house finders, which obviously you won't pay with a real estate agent. You pay them their commission at the end, of course, but with that house finder, you're still going to have to pay an actual fee for their services. Now, this could be as little as a couple of thousand euros, as much as maybe 5,000 euros, depending on how much they do. And again, I didn't use that service. It's just something I've heard from people, and I've heard people say they were excellent and they loved the service, and they really helped them from A to Z, including even setting up things like foreign mortgages with Italian banks. So they can really help you with a lot of things that if you're on your own, you probably would find extremely difficult to do or almost impossible. So in my case, I have used a real estate agent who I have an excellent rapport with and who has become my friend. Through that real estate agent, I've also learnt a lot of other things. She's been an incredible source of information to us, and also has helped us in a lot of the legal setups along the way. So they are wonderful, and an agent who is used to dealing with foreign clients, you'll find, really is worth their weight in gold. So once the process has started, you're going to find that the notary, your real estate agent, or whoever you're dealing with is going to ask you for a lot of documentation. Of course, copies of passports will be needed, marriage certificates if you're married and purchasing with a partner or a spouse, all sorts of things. Depending also if you need to get a mortgage for the property, you'll ask he asked for a lot more documentation, of course. We sent all the regular documentation, but on top of that, because we were not going to be there present ourselves to do the final atto or settlement signing, I had to obtain what was called a procura. Now, a procura is a, what do you call it again? I've forgotten the word. That's right, a power of attorney. Couldn't think of those words. So I had to obtain one of those because our real estate agent was going to be our power, or hold our power of attorney to sign on our behalves in Italy, because we couldn't be there quick enough to do that ourselves. Now, when we did that, we had to go physically, both of us, to the consulate of Italy, the Italian consulate here in Sydney, and to obtain that with all the right documentation. You do pay a fee also for that, and also it has to be something that is a legal document. So therefore, once that is done, we sent that physically by courier, because if it gets lost in the mail, which often happens, you have to pay for it and do it all over again. So it was better for us to send it by courier. So all these little things add up, because it's $100 here, $200 there, but they're all things that you must go through if you're not there on your own. So we sent the procura to the notary office in Italy, which was received, and that means just for that one day, that one act, she holds power of attorney to do that for us, or she can officialize the documents for us, but just for that one day, that one act, and it is written on the procura that that's what she's doing. In other words, she cannot sign on our behalf for anything else. You've made your verbal offer, so what happens next? Well, normally, if you were in Italy, as most people would be, you would pay a goodwill deposit of 1 or 2% of your actual offer price. That for standing, we couldn't do that being in Australia, and they didn't expect us to, which was just great. Although we were then expected to pay the full 10% deposit as quickly as possible, as soon as that verbal offer was accepted. There was paperwork done, and the real estate agent took care of everything. So your real estate agent or your house finder will do that for you. They will also help you find a notary or a notaio, which is a very, very important person. Now that person is going to really follow through everything. As a government official, they're sort of somewhere in between a lawyer and a judge. And they will handle everything right through from point A right through to Z, and those final deeds. They will register everything with the government departments, and the deeds will be held at the notary office forever if you want them to be. So that's a really important part of it. And your real estate agent, which in our case suggested different notaries to us, but also put us in touch with one that was used to dealing with foreign clients and who was totally bilingual, and that's what you'll want if you're a non-Italian speaking person. So the 10% deposit which is paid is normally paid directly to the vendor. Now, because of laws in different countries, our bank wasn't so keen about that, so our deposit was paid to the notary, who held it until we said it was fine to be released to the actual vendors. You'll go through a lot of these different bureaucratic things that you're not used to, and laws and regulations are very different from country to country. So again, just take a deep breath and just go through the processes as they come along. We're very, very pleased that the vendors are happy. They know that we are definite buyers, and we are just waiting now for the atto, or the final settlement date, to come around.
Non più tra I farfalloni amoroso, notte giorno di torno girano.
Did you know that the settlement date might not be set at the beginning? Yeah, it's a really bizarre thing for me as well. Having bought lots of properties before, normally as soon as you pay a deposit, your settlement date is set. But if you're a foreigner buying in Italy, there are so many different things that could come into play. For example, with us, there were so many different documents we had to go and get from the consulate, or go and have officialized by the Australian Passport Office, all sorts of things they all take time to actually get together, then send to Italy and have officialized. So therefore, they don't bother setting a settlement date until they're absolutely certain that everything is in play. So don't panic if you don't have a settlement date. It will come. Just be patient. Remember, patience is king. Will you need a geometra or an architetto? In other words, will you need a draftsman or an architect, or both? In most cases, you'll just need one or the other. But don't forget, if you're buying a property, one of those people is going to be involved in the searches that are done at the beginning. Also, I think it's an excellent idea to speak to either your real estate agent, which I did, or to your house finder, or to your legal representative who you have, if you're going through a process with an Italian lawyer who's bilingual. All of these people will often be able to put you in contact with a local geometra or architetto. In our case, we were put in touch with a wonderful local architect, Roberto, who is helping us with all of our processes, but also is going to be like a project manager for us before we arrive. The wonderful thing is, if you're set up with people that you can communicate with really, really clearly, and you have jobs to do, once you have good local contacts, it's a great thing because you'll feel really comforted in the fact that you have a local person who understands what your needs and wants are, can project manage for you even before you get to Italy, which in our case was so important. We have little jobs we'd really love to be done before we even arrive there, so we hope they're going to get done. And if not, it will come at a later stage, but he works with local artisans and tradesmen, and therefore people that we know do a great job, are already proven to be working in the community, within the villages, the local villages there. People that we might have not met really, really quickly otherwise. This way, we're already set up to rock and roll basically, either before we get there or as soon as we get there. So things like that, once again, will save you a lot of time, energy and effort, and a lot of stress. Finally, you're ready to buy that house in Italy, right? I know it's stressful even thinking about it sometimes. I went through so much time of research and just looking and looking and looking and trying to decide and making up our minds. And I know you have to be patient and you have to do your due diligence. All these little videos that I'm making, I'm hoping that they are making you feel a little less stressed and a little more comfortable about the process. There's so many wonderful people out there that are ready to help you. And as I said along the way, some of the people on the ground in Italy you're going to find are just worth their weight in gold. Just be patient. Do your due diligence. That's a little bit of a tongue twister, isn't it? And make sure that you do just take your time. Don't be in a rush. I know we can be, rushed and we can get anxious about things happening quickly, but you really do have to take your time. So I hope this video has been helpful once again. I would love you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done that. If you'd like to know the full story and you haven't watched my previous videos, go back to number 1, which really explains the entire trip, if you like. The trip we've been on, the journey we've been on so far, even though we physically haven't been to this house in Chiani yet. And if you could please comment and like my videos, that would be awesome. You'd really help our community to grow. Now, if you have any extra questions, I love answering your questions. Please write them in the comments here below so others can also benefit from the answers that I write. And I can't wait to see you in the next episode of Tales from Tuscany. But until then, I wish you all the luck in the world if you're going through these processes like we are. And I really hope that very soon I can tell you that we have definitely settled on our property. But until then, thank you so much for being here once again. And ciao, ciao, bacione.